I let my brother partner with me. After he robbed my storage unit, then used the contract to legally take everything he had, my parents sued for destroying the family because I refused to keep being their ATM. 6 months later, they came crawling back, desperate and homeless. Hey Reddit, you ever notice how family debt doesn't need paperwork? Just history. You do one thing right, one thing they can brag about, and suddenly you owe them forever. Let me show you how it went. I'm Nick, 29, and I fix broken things, phones, laptops, tablets, whatever people spill coffee on or throw against walls. I run my repair business out of a silver van I bought from a junkyard and rebuilt piece by piece. It rattles, smells like solder and bad coffee, but it's mine. On the side, Ramirez Tech Repair, on-site service. Not fancy, just honest work. I grew up in a small town where gossip traveled faster than Wi-Fi. We weren't poor, just never comfortable. Dad, a retired cop, was bitter and broke by 47. Mom worked part-time and guilt-tripped full-time. My brother Leo was on the verge of something big. Always was, never did. From the outside, we looked normal. Inside, it was a group project where I did all the work and everyone else signed their names. Dad called me practical. Mom said I lacked ambition. And every time Leo crashed and burned, I cleaned it up. I started fixing electronics at 16 because we couldn't afford new ones. It wasn't a hobby. It was survival. After high school, Leo drifted while I saved, learned the trade, and bought that van. Dad called it an eyesore. I called it freedom. Now I wake up before sunrise, driving from job to job, fixing what's broken for people who appreciate reliability more than charm. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. Across from my usual parking spot is Loft 22, a cafe run by Maya. Sharp eyes, sharper tongue, kind heart. She calls me Van Guy and brings me coffee without asking. We don't talk about family. That's why I like her. Except family always finds you. A few Fridays ago, I was packing up after fixing a photographer's laptop when I heard someone yell my name like a command. Nick! Leo! Same designer hoodie he didn't pay for. Same gold chain. Same grin that got him out of 1,000 bad situations. The kind of guy who talks about the grind, but sleeps till noon. Bro, look at you doing your little thing, he said, slapping the van hard enough to leave a handprint. I'm proud of you. Listen, I got something going that's about to blow up. I kept wiping the laptop screen. I'd heard it before. Clothing line, podcast, crypto, different dreams, same script. I'm starting this content studio, he said, pacing like he was pitching a movie. We're doing shoots, promos, brand visuals. I've got investors sniffing around. Just need to build the portfolio first. You'd love it. It's creative. You should come by. Leo always used "we like it" meant more than him and his next victim. Then came the ask. Can I borrow the van? Just for a few hours tomorrow. Need to haul some gear. I'll take care of it, promise. You know I'm good for it. I looked at the van. Every bolt, every late night repair, every mile that meant freedom. You can rent one, I said. It's not insured for anyone else. He laughed. Dude, it's me. Family, right? He said family like it was a magic password. Before I could reply, Maya walked out with 2 coffees. She caught the tension instantly. Hey, Van Guy, she said, handing me one. You still coming tomorrow morning? Got that delivery tablet you're fixing. Leo flashed his trademark grin. He'll be free, he said for me. Just helping out family first. I didn't correct him. Just sipped my coffee and nodded, already knowing how it would go. In my family, no wasn't a word. It was an obstacle. Something you said before, they convinced you otherwise. I wish I'd trusted the look Maya gave me as Leo walked away grinning. It said everything I already knew but didn't want to admit. Something bad was coming, and it'd have my name written all over it. That night, I texted Leo a firm no. He didn't reply. 10 minutes later, Mom called. Nick, your brother really needs this. Just one day, please. I stared at my phone. That pressure, always that pressure. Fine, I texted back. Leo didn't bring the van back that night. Shocking, I know. I called twice around 9, then stopped. With him, silence worked better than reminders. Calling too much made me the controlling brother. Waiting let him think he was in charge. By noon the next day, he rolled in like he'd just won a parade. Music thumping, sunglasses on, grinning like nothing was wrong. He tossed me the keys. All good, bro. Appreciate you. The door was unlocked. I never left it unlocked. I slid it open and got hit with a wave of cigarette smoke, fast food stench, and regret. Trash everywhere. But worse, my main toolbox, a red Craftsman worth $3,000, was gone. Every screwdriver, soldering tip, and tester I owned. Half my business. Where's my kit? He shrugged. Chill, man. One of the guys needed it. You'll get it back. That box cost $3,000. He laughed. Relax. It's an investment. Exposure, bro. Exposure, his favorite currency. Every time he messed up, he called it networking. Meanwhile, I was rebuilding my life one invoice at a time. When? I asked. Couple days. I'll handle it. Right. Like he handled everything else. I checked the mileage. 200 extra miles. Didn't bother arguing. He'd turn it into a performance. Make me the uptight villain. That night, I started pricing replacement tools I couldn't afford. The math stung. Then Mom called. I could hear her telenovela in the background. Dad half asleep in his chair. Your brother said you're mad at him, she began. He took my van and lost my tools. He didn't mean to. You know how he gets? He's trying to build something. You've always been so responsible. Can't you help him out a little? It's family. There it was. The guilt dressed as love. She treated irresponsibility like creativity. Dad's voice chimed in. You're the older one. Let him learn. Yeah, I said. When I was his age, I worked 2 jobs and didn't steal from people. Mom sighed. Not everyone's so practical. She said practical like it meant boring. I hung up. The next few family dinners were awkward. I skipped 2, but Mom's guilt wore me down. I showed up the 3rd week, already regretting it. Leo arrived 45 minutes late, smelling like weed and cologne, wearing his sunglasses indoors. Mom lit up like he'd just returned from war. Dad raised his beer. Good to have the boys together. Dinner started normal. Work, weather, some cousin's wedding. Then Dad looked at me. So, Nick? Still fixing screens? Yup. When you gonna do something bigger? Hire people? Open a store? It is a real company, I said. Leo smirked. Yeah, bro, you should partner with me. I've got the vision, you've got the skills. Mom's eyes sparkled. That's a wonderful idea. I'm good, I said. Dad frowned. Don't be stubborn. You've got potential. I'm paying my bills. That's something. Mom added softly. Seems like a waste. Leo leaned in, voice all confidence. Don't you want more, man? You're almost 30, driving a van like a delivery guy. No offense. All offense. I set down my fork. Where's my toolbox? He blinked. What? The one you borrowed 3 weeks ago. Oh, still tracking that down. $3,000, Leo, Mom jumped in. Nick, not at dinner. Why not? He can insult my job, but I can't ask for my stuff. Dad's voice hardened. Watch your tone. Or what? I said. You'll tell me to be the bigger person again? That's all I've ever been. Silence. Mom looked away. Dad clenched his jaw. Leo scrolled through his phone like none of it mattered. I stood, grabbed my jacket. Thanks for dinner. Nick, don't leave like this, Mom said, voice trembling. I didn't answer. Sat in my van, watching them through the window. Mom crying, Dad gesturing. Leo glued to his phone. Same script, different night. At home, I opened my business account. Steady, growing, honest. I didn't need their approval. I just needed them to stop mistaking chaos for ambition. In families like mine, quiet success wasn't celebrated. It was invisible. The loudest failure always got the sympathy. That night, I decided I was done being the safety net. They could keep cheering for the dreamer. I'd stick with reality. 2 weeks later, Leo called. Yo, good news. Got your tools back. Mostly. Some stuff went missing, but I replaced it. What stuff? Couple screwdrivers, maybe a tester? But we're good, right? I drove over. The toolbox was dented, scratched, half empty. The replacements were dollar store knockoffs, a plastic screwdriver set, a dead multimeter. You're kidding, I said. Bro, I did my best. Shit happens. I didn't argue. Just loaded it into the van and left. Driving home, it hit me. He wasn't sorry. He never would be. In his mind, this was closure. That's when I stopped expecting anything from him. Not apologies, not change. You can't fix people who don't think they're broken, but you can stop letting them break you. The invitation came in one of those cheap gold envelopes my mom loves, the kind that looks fancy until you touch it and realize it's just shiny paper pretending to be important. Inside was a thick card, Annual Community Renewal Dinner, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. I stared at it for 10 seconds. Trap. Mom called 15 minutes later. Did you get the invitation? Yeah. Good. It's important to your father. He's giving a short speech about community values. You need to be there. I'm working that night. Nicholas. Full name. Not a request. Your father is being recognized. We support each other as a family. Wear something nice. And please don't make it awkward this time. This time meant last year's fundraiser, where I embarrassed her by not donating $50 I didn't have. I'll think about it, I said. That means you'll be there. 7 p.m. Don't be late. She hung up. The night of the dinner, I seriously considered faking food poisoning, but skipping meant 6 months of guilt calls. So I put on the least wrinkled button-up I owned and drove downtown. Riverside Event Hall, Edison bulbs trying too hard to look expensive. I parked 2 blocks away, so my van wouldn't ruin the aesthetic of luxury sedans and SUVs. Inside smelled like perfume, overcooked chicken, and ambition. Mom spotted me instantly, waving like I was 5. Dressed in sequins and heels that looked like punishment, she sparkled under the lights. Dad sat beside her in a stiff suit, proud and already half-buzzed. Leo was there too, sunglasses indoors, surrounded by women who looked bored but polite. When I sat down, Mom whispered, "You could have ironed your shirt better." I was working. She smiled through clenched teeth. Just try to look like you belong. Belong. Right. Dinner dragged through endless speeches. I picked at dry chicken and tuned out as the mayor talked about community growth and investing in our future. Code for open your wallets. People clapped on cue. I checked my phone. Then the host, a woman with a politician's smile, called Dad to the stage. A respected retired officer and community figure. He kissed Mom's cheek and strode up like he'd been waiting his whole life. The speech started fine. Sacrifice, integrity, family values. I almost felt proud. Then he turned toward our table and said it. And tonight, I'm proud to say my son's company, Ramirez Tech Repair, will match the donations raised this evening. Applause exploded. People cheered. Mom beamed. Leo laughed, clapping too loud. My fork hit the plate. I leaned toward Mom. What the hell is he talking about? She kept smiling. Just go with it. It's good publicity. I didn't agree to that. Don't ruin this. Dad finished his speech, glowing. When he sat down, he patted my shoulder. That's how you build credibility, son. Good for business. You'll thank me. I can't afford to match anything, I said, voice low but sharp. He frowned. Don't make a scene. You just made one for me. Mom gripped my wrist. Lower your voice. The host returned to announce donations. 500 here, 1,000 there. People smiled my way, expecting approval. The total rose. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. When she said, thanks to Ramirez Tech Repair for matching our goal of $4,500. The room erupted again. I stood up. The chair screeched. Actually, I said, steady, that's a misunderstanding. The host blinked. I'm sorry? I didn't agree to any donation. My father made that commitment without asking me. Silence. Thick and real. The host stammered. Oh, there's nothing to clarify, I said, sitting back down. I'm not matching anything. Whispers spread like static. The host muttered something about a mix-up and rushed on. At our table, Mom's knife trembled against her plate. She wouldn't look at me. Dad's face was crimson. Leo leaned back, grinning. Man, that was cold, he said. Respect, though. You've got balls. Shut up, Leo, Mom hissed. We left early. Nobody spoke on the walk to the car. The air was thick with everything unsaid. At their car, Dad finally turned. You think being independent makes you better than your family? His voice was low, dangerous. You're just selfish. I corrected a lie, I said. You embarrassed me. Then stop using me for decoration. He stared, jaw tight, then got in the car and slammed the door. Mom followed without a word. Leo clapped my shoulder as he passed. You really don't give a fuck anymore, huh? I didn't answer. At home, I parked in the driveway and just sat there. Headlights off. My phone buzzed. Mom, you humiliated your father in front of everyone. I hope you're proud of yourself. I stared at the message, then set the phone down. A minute later, another text. Dad, don't bother coming to Sunday dinners anymore. You made your choice. I turned the phone off and went inside. For the first time in months, I slept without grinding my teeth. Because I finally understood something. They didn't want a son. They wanted a prop. And the only way to stop being used was to stop volunteering. That night, for once, the silence in my life didn't feel empty. It felt earned. 3 weeks after the fundraiser, I pulled up to my storage unit and knew something was wrong before I even got out of the van. The lock was gone. Not broken, not cut, just gone. The latch hung open like someone had calmly unscrewed it. My stomach dropped. I pulled the door up. Empty. Every box of replacement screens, charging ports, refurbished tablets, gone. The spare drill, diagnostic laptop, compressor, all gone. Even the plastic bins. Just dust and loose cables left behind. This wasn't random. Whoever did it knew exactly what to take. I called the storage office. The guard looked like he'd retired from caring a decade ago. Coffee stains, gut hanging over his belt, scrolling his phone. Yeah? He said. Unit 47. Someone broke in. You sure you locked it? The lock's missing. Huh. He sighed and clicked through security footage. And then I saw it. Leo. Strolling up to my unit in that same black hoodie he thought made him look creative. Two of his friends followed. His so-called crew. They moved fast, organized. Another loaded boxes on a dolly. Leo even waved at the camera before leaving. Waved. I clenched my fists. Can I get a copy of that? Sure, the guard said, shrugging. But if that's family, maybe sort it out between you guys. I called the cops anyway. Two officers came 40 minutes later. One old and over it, one new and pretending to care. They took my statement, watched the footage. That your brother? The older one asked. Yeah. You give him permission? No. But he's used your van before? For the van, not the storage unit. They exchanged a look. Here's the thing, the older cop said. Legally, it's murky. He's family. You've given him access before. No forced entry. He stole everything I own. We're not saying he didn't, the younger one added. But it looks more like a civil dispute. A family dispute? I said. Yeah. You can file a civil claim, but theft's hard to prove without a break-in. I stared at them. So, because I didn't chain my life down, it's not a crime? The older one pocketed his notepad. You might want to talk it out first. Talk it out. Right. They left. I stood in that empty room, the hum of the fluorescent light filling the silence. Being right never changed a thing. That night, I texted Leo. I saw the footage. He replied instantly. Bro, chill. I told you I was borrowing gear for a shoot. It's safe. Don't blow it up. You stole from me. You're so dramatic. It's family equipment. You'll get your cut when the project's done. Stop acting like I robbed you, LOL. I stared at that last line until my vision blurred. He actually believed it. In Leo's world, what was mine was his. And I was the asshole for caring. I turned my phone off and sat in the dark, letting the anger settle into something colder. The next morning, Mom called. I heard you're upset, she said softly. Leo said there's some misunderstanding about equipment. You know how he is. He just gets carried away. It's not a misunderstanding. He robbed me. Don't use that word, she snapped. He's your brother. If something's missing, we'll replace it eventually. You have to stop making everything so serious. Dad's voice cut through from the background. Handle it like a man, Nick. Don't drag cops into family business. I hung up. For days, I didn't work. Couldn't. Clients called. I lied. Said I was reorganizing inventory. On the fifth day, Stan showed up. He ran the electrical shop 2 units down. Gray beard, grease-stained hands, quiet eyes. The kind of man who fixed things and didn't waste words. Heard about your mess, he said. Come on. I got something to show you. His warehouse was small but secure. Steel cabinets, motion sensors, cameras in every corner. This, he said, tapping one of the locks, is how you stop people from walking all over you. You can rent half my space, $200 a month, cheaper than what you're paying. I frowned. Why are you helping me? He shrugged. I don't like thieves, and I don't like seeing decent people get screwed by their own blood. You in? I nodded. Yeah, I'm in. By evening, we were moving what little I had left, some cables, chargers, paperwork, into the corner of his unit. We bolted a steel door over it, ran a new camera feed, worked in silence except for drills and the low hum of a shop radio. When we finished, he poured 2 cups of burnt coffee. People mistake calm for weakness, he said. Don't let that stick. I nodded, sipping. You gonna press charges? He asked. Cops called it a family matter. Stan snorted. Figures. You know what you should do? What? Get it back yourself. Not with cops, with leverage. I looked up. What kind of leverage? He grinned. The kind that makes people realize they fucked with the wrong guy. That night, I sat alone in the van, phone silent for the first time in weeks. No calls, no guilt trips, no lectures about family loyalty, just quiet. And in that quiet, I felt something new. Resolve. Not revenge exactly, but clarity. Because Leo had taken things before. Money, tools, time, and I'd always let him. Always told myself it wasn't worth the fight. But standing in that stripped storage unit, watching his smirk on that grainy footage, something in me finally changed. He wanted to treat this like business? Fine. Then I'd handle it like business. And for once, I wasn't going to play the forgiving brother. I was going to be the one who finished what he started. 6 months passed before I heard Leo's name again. Turns out Leo had been dodging the lawsuit for months, ignoring court dates, burning through savings. By the time Mom called, he was out of options. Business was steady, I'd rebuilt under a new LLC. Different name, no family trace. Apex Mobile Solutions sounded corporate enough to sound credible, vague enough that nobody asked questions. I took small business contracts that paid on time and came without drama. I worked, slept, minded my lane. It was peaceful, boring, perfect. Then one Thursday night, my phone rang. Mom. Nick, your brother's in trouble, she said, already crying. He's being sued. Some client says he didn't deliver. He could lose everything. I waited. Maybe if you talked to him, gave him advice? Advice, sure, I said. Money, no. It's not always about money, Nick. Family doesn't let family drown. Where was family when I was drowning? Silence. I'll think about it, I said, and hung up. 2 days later, Dad called. His tone wasn't pleading, it was commanding. You're the older one, he said. Be a man. Help him. He's 25, I said. He can be a man himself. Don't get smart. When one of you rises, you both rise. That's family. I laughed. Funny. It never worked that way when I was falling. He hung up. Sunday dinner was inevitable. It's just food, Mom said sweetly, which always meant trap. The house hadn't changed. Same chipped counter, same fried onion smell, same old photos where I looked 12 and miserable. Leo sat at the table in joggers, scrolling his phone. He looked thinner, tired, the kind of tired that comes when life stops letting you talk your way out. Mom clanged pots like noise could cover tension. We just need an honest conversation, she said. Dad folded his hands. Your brother's business hit a rough patch. He's got talent but needs structure. You've got that. Maybe you two merge. Combine your skills. Leo finally looked up. Grin cracked. You handle the boring stuff. Scheduling, invoices. I'll bring clients. Split 50-50. Mom beamed. See? You're stronger together. I crossed my arms. You're asking me to bail him out. Dad frowned. Don't twist it. It's family synergy. Synergy. From a man who still balanced his checkbook with a pencil. Leo leaned in. I know I messed up before, but I've got real leads this time. I just need someone who knows how to run things. I trust you. Trust. Coming from him, that was almost funny. Mom clasped her hands. You could even rebrand under your new company. Keep it in the family. I studied them. Dad pretending this was business, Mom pushing emotion, Leo acting humble but already planning his next play. The same pattern as always. Guilt, obligation, control. Only this time, I was ready. I nodded slowly. All right, let's talk about it properly. I'll think up a plan. Mom lit up. I knew you'd do the right thing. Leo clapped my back. That's my brother. We're gonna kill it. I left right after dessert. No hugs, no promises. The second I got home, I opened my laptop. Over the next week, I met with a business attorney. A quiet guy named Martin. Mid-50s, sharp eyes, sharper pen. I told him everything. He listened, then said, You want to protect yourself or win? Both, he smiled. I like you. We built a partnership agreement designed like a trap disguised as opportunity. Legal, airtight, professional. Every line tilted the table my way. Clause 1. Asset ownership. All equipment, client lists, branding, everything stayed under the LLC. If the partnership ended, I kept it all. Clause 2. Financial oversight. I controlled the accounts. Leo got a small operational fund capped at $500 a month. Clause 3. Profit distribution, quarterly payouts. After debts and overhead I defined. Clause 4. Client rights. Any new client entered under Apex records. If Leo left, they stayed. Clause 5. Breach. Clause. Any attempt to take clients, withdraw funds, or operate independently ended the deal instantly and forfeited his share. Martin scanned the final draft and laughed. If he signs this, he's basically handing you his company. That's the point. If he reads it, he won't. Reading kills the illusion. Martin nodded. Just follow every clause. Clean paper wins every time. I walked out of that office with the folder in my hand and something I hadn't felt in years. Control. Friday, I met Leo at a cafe downtown. Hipster vibe. Sad baristas. Overpriced lattes. I got there early, black coffee in hand. He showed up 20 minutes late, sunglasses on, grin dialed to maximum. Yo, thanks for doing this, man. I knew you'd come around. I slid the contract across the table. Partnership agreement. Standard stuff. Just keeps us both protected. He flipped through the pages like he was scanning a menu. Skimmed a paragraph, maybe two. Looks good, he said. You always were the detail guy. Read it, I said. Nah, I trust you. He pulled out a pen. We're finally doing this together. That's what matters. He signed, a quick flourish like he was autographing his own downfall. I handed him his copy. He stuffed it in his pocket. This is gonna be huge, bro. I smiled. Just business. We shook hands. His grip was confident, mine steady. He thought he'd just been saved. What he'd actually done was sign every remaining piece of his empire over to me. They wanted a merge? Fine. They'd get one. Only this time, the signatures ensured everything stayed exactly where it belonged. With me. Leo's client list looked like a graveyard. Half the names were crossed out. Most projects were vague promises sent over Instagram DMs. The few paying clients were furious. Missed deadlines, half-finished files, invoices that didn't match quotes. One guy emailed me the first week. Is this business even real, or did I get scammed? I spent 2 weeks doing damage control, answering messages, finishing Leo's work, convincing people they hadn't wasted their money. I didn't tell them the truth. I just said the company had been restructured, and I was now managing operations. People liked that word, restructured. It sounded clean, official, hopeful. Once I started delivering on time, replying within hours instead of days, clients stopped asking where Leo was. They just called me. Some even assumed I'd taken over completely, and I didn't correct them. Every invoice, every email now ran through my LLC. The initials matched Leo's old brand, AMS Creative versus Apex Mobile Solutions, so nobody noticed the swap. Within 2 months, I had real clients again. A gym chain, a realtor group, a small law office. Steady work, on-time pay. I hired a part-time designer, Marcus, hungry kid, good eye. I made sure all payments went through my new account, not the business account Leo once used as his personal piggy bank. Leo didn't notice. He was too busy posting fake success online, showing projects he hadn't touched while ignoring overdue bills. Until the night he called. Why's my name gone from the invoices? I was organizing cables in the warehouse. It's not gone. It's just under the parent company now. You mean your company? It's the same operation, I said evenly. Clients are happy. Work's getting done. This is how you save a business. He laughed brittle. You're hijacking my company. No, I'm saving it. Bullshit. You think because I messed up once, you can just take over? You wouldn't even have these clients without me. Maybe, I said. But they wouldn't still be around without me either. He cursed and hung up. Weeks passed. I figured he'd cool off once the money started flowing. His quarterly cut was smaller than he liked, but fair. But Leo never cooled off. One afternoon, my biggest client, Richard from a commercial property firm, called sounding confused. Hey Nick, I got 2 proposals for the same project. Both from you, but different company names. My stomach dropped. Send me the second one. It was Leo. Same pricing, same files, same scope, but under his old brand, offering a 15% loyalty discount. I called him immediately. Why are you pitching to my clients? They were my clients before you stole them, he snapped. You signed a contract, I said, voice low. Everything under this partnership belongs to the LLC until it ends. Contracts don't mean shit if they're written by a snake. Cute. But you signed it. I'll start over myself. I don't need you. Then stop stealing what you already sold me. He hung up again. That night, I called Martin, my attorney. He's breaching, I said. Good, Martin replied. That makes this easy. You've got proof? Every email, every message, screenshots of him pitching. Even the old footage from my storage unit. Perfect. I'll file for arbitration. 2 weeks later, we met in a bland downtown office. Gray carpet, fluorescent lights, table scarred by decades of losers. The arbitrator, a man with square glasses and zero patience, sifted through a folder thick with evidence. Leo came in loud, pacing. This whole thing's a setup. He used me to build his company, then cut me out. The arbitrator didn't look up. Let's stick to evidence, Mr. Ramirez. I handed over everything. Screenshots of Leo soliciting clients with company files. Bank statements showing every legitimate payment routed to my LLC. Client emails about duplicate proposals. Server logs proving he'd pulled contact info from our system. And finally, the storage unit footage. Leo and his friends clearing me out months earlier. The arbitrator read quietly for a long minute, turning each page with clinical disinterest. Leo fidgeted, muttering. At last, the man looked up. Mr. Ramirez, he said, meaning Leo. You signed a binding partnership granting full asset ownership to your brother's LLC. You then violated that agreement by soliciting clients independently, using company resources without authorization, and misrepresenting your authority. The ruling is simple. All assets remain with the LLC. The respondent, Mr. Nicholas Ramirez, retains sole control. Partnership dissolved. Effective immediately. Leo stared, stunned. You're kidding. The arbitrator stood. gathering papers. No, Mr. Ramirez. You played yourself by not reading before you signed. Leo rounded on me, face flushed. You set me up. I met his eyes. No, I stopped letting you set me back. He shoved his chair, nearly toppled it, and stormed out. The door slammed so hard the blinds rattled. The arbitrator handed me a stamped copy of the ruling. Congratulations, he said flatly. It's yours. Outside, Leo paced the sidewalk, phone to his ear. I walked the other way. That night, back at the warehouse, I logged into the business account. Every client intact. Every payment cleared. The company, my company, stood free of every name that used to weigh it down. I didn't celebrate. I just worked late, closing invoices, setting next week's schedule. By midnight, I shut off the lights and caught my reflection in the glass door. Same man, different gravity. For years, I'd been rebuilding from scraps. Now, for the first time, I wasn't rebuilding anything. I was standing on solid ground. The texts started that night. Mom's messages came in waves, long, breathless paragraphs full of guilt and half-finished sentences. She said I'd humiliated my brother, that money wasn't everything, that she'd raised me better. I read them once, turned my phone face down, and went back to work. A few hours later, Dad sent one line that hit harder than all her words. You're not family if you can't show mercy. I didn't answer that either. The next morning, the warehouse was quiet, except for the soft hum of old lights and the tinny voice of country music leaking from Stan's radio. He didn't say much, just nodded, said he'd heard it went my way, and grinned the kind of grin men wear when they've seen too much of life and still like you for surviving it. By noon, 3 new contracts had landed in my inbox. None exciting. Maintenance for a photo studio, a school district, a realtor, but clean, solid, mine. For the first time in years, my life was completely my own. No phone calls, no guilt, no favors, just work. It felt unnatural at first, like silence after a storm. For a while, I caught myself listening for the next explosion. A new crisis, a new debt I'd somehow inherited, but it never came. Then, one afternoon, I saw Leo outside a camera rental shop. Same hoodie, same sneakers. He argued with the clerk, who eventually shook his head. Leo left empty-handed, shoulders low. For a brief second, I thought about calling out to him, but the moment passed. There was nothing left to fix. A week later, Mom found the address I'd registered with my new LLC and showed up at the warehouse with a grocery bag in her hands. She knocked softly, like a stranger. When I opened the door, she looked smaller than I remembered. Inside, she set the bag down on my workbench and looked around the space, the tools, the order, the quiet purpose of it all. I could see her trying to reconcile this place with the version of me she'd built in her head, the reliable son who never said no. Her voice was careful, rehearsed. She said I'd changed, that Leo was struggling, that family didn't abandon its own. I told her I hadn't left anyone. I'd just stopped being used. She didn't argue. She just unpacked lunch, divided it neatly between us, and talked about nothing until it was time to go. Before leaving, she said Leo was angry, but that one day he'd understand. I didn't answer. We both knew he wouldn't. That night, Maya stopped by after closing her cafe. She leaned against the van, sipping coffee, studying me like she was seeing a different person. She said I seemed quieter. I told her maybe I'd just run out of people to apologize to. She smiled, said that kind of peace never comes easy. And she was right. It didn't feel like freedom yet, just an absence of noise. 3 months passed. The business grew. Marcus stayed on full-time, and I hired a new kid, Alex, for logistics. When Stan retired, he sold me the warehouse for less than it was worth. His name stayed on a plaque by the door. It felt right. Revenue was up 40%. I wasn't rich, but I was stable, independent. And for the first time, nobody could take that from me. I still heard things about Leo. Small jobs, unpaid invoices, burned bridges. He was running out of people willing to believe in him. I stopped checking in. Some debts don't deserve to be collected. Once I ran into Dad at the hardware store. He saw me, nodded, and kept walking. I let him. There was nothing left between us but silence. And that was fine. Then, in late October, my phone rang. An unknown number, but I knew the voice immediately. Thinner now, scraped raw by exhaustion. Leo wanted to meet. He looked older when I saw him. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something small and desperate. He said he'd lost everything. Clients, money, his apartment. He said he just needed help, alone, a little time. I listened. I didn't feel anger or pity, just a kind of clarity that comes from running out of excuses. He'd called it family before. I called it pattern. He'd taught me long ago that mercy, in our house, was just another word for debt. When I left the diner, I didn't look back. Dad called 2 weeks later, demanding I be a man and help my brother. Mom followed with a long message about forgiveness and compassion. Both used the same argument. Family. That word had once meant obligation. Now it just sounded like noise. I sent one reply before blocking her number. He had plenty of chances. He used them all on me. That night, I sat in the warehouse scrolling through old photos, birthdays, cookouts, blurry smiles from a life that didn't fit anymore. None of it hurt. It just looked like evidence of someone who finally learned what not to carry. I deleted every image. Then I checked the business account. Steady, growing, clean. Every cent earned, protected, mine. No guilt, no open tabs. Later, Maya texted, "You still owe me that dinner, van guy?" I smiled. "Tomorrow night? It's a date." I turned off the lights, locked the warehouse, and stepped into the cool night air. Same rattling van, same faded logo, but it felt different now. Not a tool, but proof. Proof that survival can be quiet, that peace can be earned. Family debt doesn't need paperwork, just history. But for the first time in my life, I owed nothing, and that was freedom. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.